In the bustling heart of Nairobi, beneath the dazzling city lights and endless traffic noise, a wealthy businessman named Chike walked into a five-star restaurant that gleamed with marble floors and golden chandeliers. His navy blue suit was perfectly tailored, his polished leather shoes clicked sharply against the tiles, and his wristwatch glimmered beneath the glow of crystal lights. He looked every inch the successful man who had everything: booming businesses, luxury cars lined up in his garage, and a mansion on the city's highest hill. Yet when his eyes landed on Zara, seated gracefully at the far end of the restaurant, his heart skipped. Zara, in a flowing emerald green gown, her natural curls resting gently on her shoulders, radiated a kind of beauty and grace that no money could buy. She was different. There was something deeper in her presence, a calm dignity that made him feel both safe and unsettled at the same time. They say love is blind, but in Chike's world, love was often hidden behind glitter and gold. Tonight, as he walked toward Zara's table, he wondered if her heart truly belonged to him or to his fortune. The waiter poured red wine into crystal glasses as Chike leaned closer. His voice, usually confident, carried a trace of vulnerability. "Zara," he began, his dark eyes searching hers. "Sometimes I ask myself, would you still love me if I had nothing? If I wasn't this man everyone sees?" Zara paused, her gaze soft but unreadable. Before she could answer, laughter erupted from the next table. A group of young men, half drunk, whispered loudly while smirking. "She's lucky. He's rich. That's why she's here." The words cut deep into Cheeky's chest like knives. He forced a smile at Zara, pretending not to care, but inside his doubts grew heavier. Was Zara like the others who had come before her, drawn to his lifestyle, not his soul? Later that night, Chike sat in his luxurious mansion's living room. The space was filled with expensive art pieces, imported furniture, and glass walls that revealed a panoramic view of Nairobi's skyline. Yet, the room felt cold and lifeless. Wealth surrounded him, but it couldn't silence the voice of doubt echoing inside. He poured himself a drink, staring at the golden liquid swirling in the glass. Would she still stay if I lost everything? He whispered to himself. Crosstown Zara returned to her modest apartment. Unlike the glamorous gowns she wore with Chike, here she lived simply. She slipped off her heels, pulled her hair into a bun, and changed into jeans and a plain t-shirt. Her apartment was small but warm, decorated with handmade crafts and books scattered across a desk. On that desk lay her interior design textbooks. She was a student working late nights to pay her tuition and help her younger sister through school. Her life wasn't about luxury, it was about dreams, responsibilities, and hard work. As she settled into her chair, her phone buzzed. A message from Chike lit the screen. "Do you really love me? Or do you love what I give you?" Zara's heart sank. Tears welled in her eyes as she whispered into the silence, "Why can't he see me for who I am?" Days later, Chike invited Zara to his mansion again. This time, his intention was not romance, it was a test. As they walked through the grand halls, he spoke about his wealth, his properties, and the comfort money could bring. "Imagine this house, Zara," he said with a faint smile, though his tone carried suspicion. "Imagine never worrying about bills again. Isn't that why you're here?" Zara froze. Her face, usually radiant with warmth, clouded with hurt. She turned to him, her voice trembling but firm. "Chike, if you think I'm here for your money, then you don't know me at all." That night, unable to sleep, Zara sat in the guest room. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city's lights sparkled like stars, yet her eyes were clouded with tears. She thought about the sacrifices she had made, refusing men who offered her gifts, working double shifts to pay rent, rejecting shortcuts in life, all because she wanted to build her own path. She wanted love, not luxury. She whispered to herself, "I don't want his money. I just want his heart." Meanwhile, Chike paced the hallway outside. Doubts still battled with guilt inside him. As he passed Zara's room, he stopped. Through the slightly open door, he heard her sobs. He froze. Her cries were raw, filled with pain and sincerity. He leaned closer, unable to move. as her voice cracked with emotion. Why does he see me like this? Why does he think I came for his wealth? Doesn't he know my heart? For the first time, Chaik realized something. Sometimes, the truth is not spoken in words, it is revealed in tears. He stood outside the door, guilt pressing on his chest like a weight he could not lift. He wanted to walk in, to comfort her, to tell her he was sorry, but he couldn't. Instead, he turned away, retreating to his own room. That night he lay awake, haunted by the sound of Zara's weeping. Those tears spoke louder than any promise she could have made. Yet he still struggled with his fears, still chained by his distrust. He thought she loved his money, but little did he know, her tears were about to prove him wrong in a way he never imagined. The morning sun crept through the wide windows of Chaik's mansion, casting golden light across the marble floor. Yet for Chaik, the day began heavy. He had spent the night tossing in bed, haunted by the sound of Zara's cries. Each sob echoed in his head like a reminder of his doubt, his mistrust, his inability to see the truth standing right in front of him. Dressed in a simple gray shirt and black trousers, he stood by the balcony, staring at the city's skyline. For the first time in years, his wealth felt meaningless. What good were cars, houses, and investments if he couldn't trust the heart of the woman he loved? In the guest room, Zara slowly rose from the couch where she had cried herself to sleep. Her emerald gown from the previous evening lay folded neatly on the chair, and she changed into dark jeans and a crisp white blouse. She tied her natural curls into a bun, looked into the mirror, and whispered to herself, "Today I will show him who I am." She picked up her worn leather bag, stuffed with her textbooks and sketches, and walked out of the room. When she entered the dining hall, Chaik was already seated, his breakfast untouched. He looked at her, but words failed him. Zara's eyes were tired, swollen from the night before, yet they still carried strength. She broke the silence first. "Chaik," she said calmly, "I don't need this mansion. I don't need the cars. I don't need any of it. All I need is for you to believe in me. If you cannot, then I don't belong here." She turned toward the door, ready to leave. Chaik's chest tightened. He wanted to stop her, but his pride held him back. He let her walk away, even though every step she took toward the exit felt like a knife twisting in his heart. Hours later, Zara returned to her own neighborhood. Her younger sister, Amaka, a bright teenager in a yellow hoodie and ripped jeans, greeted her at the door. "Z, you look tired. Did something happen?" Zara forced a smile, placing her bag on the couch. "Don't worry, Amaka, I'll be fine." But Amaka wasn't convinced. She had seen her sister sacrifice too much in life, and now she could sense something deeper troubling her. That evening, Zara prepared a simple meal of jollof rice, while Amaka sat beside her sketching in a notebook. The atmosphere in their small apartment was warm, alive with laughter from neighbors outside, music floating from distant shops, and the aroma of food wafting through open windows. This was Zara's world, not luxury, not glitter, but family, responsibility, and dreams. Meanwhile, in his mansion, Chaik sat in his office staring at a family portrait of his late parents. His father had always told him, "Trust is the foundation of love, my son. Without it, money cannot save you." The words now burned in his mind. He realized he was repeating the same mistakes that had once made his father's marriage fragile. For the first time, he admitted to himself that his fear of being used had blinded him to Zara's sincerity. He picked up his car keys and decided to go find her. By nightfall, Zara was in her study corner, bent over her textbooks. She scribbled design sketches, her passion shining even in her exhaustion. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Amaka opened it, surprised to see Chaik standing there in a black jacket and dark jeans. Looking less like the confident businessman and more like a man carrying guilt on his shoulders. "Zara," he said softly when she appeared at the doorway. His voice cracked. "Please, can we talk?" Zara hesitated, then stepped aside to let him in. The living room was modest but cozy. A worn couch, handmade decorations, and family photographs on the wall. Chaik looked around quietly, realizing this was the real Zaratha woman who built her life with her own hands. "Zara," he began, sitting down nervously, I've been unfair to you. My doubts blinded me. I thought you were here for my money because that's all I've ever known. But last night, when I heard your tears, I realized you're here because of me, and I nearly destroyed that. Zara's eyes filled again, but this time not with pain, with a fragile hope. Kike, I've never cared about your wealth. Kite want love, trust, and a future built together. If you can't give me that, then all the riches in the world mean nothing. Chike reached for her hand, his voice trembling. I was wrong. I see you now. Not the gowns, not the glamour, just you. And that is more valuable than everything I own. Weeks passed, and Chike made a decision that shocked those around him. He began stepping away from his flashy lifestyle, focusing instead on building a more genuine life with Zara. He took her to his business meetings, not as a decoration, but as a partner, listening to her ideas on design and hospitality. She continued her studies, and he supported her dreams without trying to control them. Their love, tested by doubt, began to grow stronger. At a charity event in Lagos where Zara wore a simple modern gown and Chike, a classic black suit, he introduced her proudly. "This is Zara," he told the crowd, "the woman who taught me that love is not measured by wealth but by truth." The audience applauded, but Zara's smile was the only applause he needed. The story reached its climax one quiet evening. Chike returned home to find Zara in tears again, but these were tears of joy. She had just received news of a scholarship to study interior design abroad. Chike embraced her, whispering, "Go chase your dreams, Zara. I'll be here, waiting. Because I love you not for what you have, but for who you are." In that moment, their journey came full circle. She had proven him wrong, not with promises, not with words, but with tears of pain, of sincerity, and finally, of joy. Moral African life connection. In African culture, family, trust, and sincerity matter far more than material wealth. Just as the strongest tree grows from deep roots, true love grows from trust, not riches. Money can build a mansion, but only love can make it a home.